Hey everyone, let me ask you this. What if I told you that the fastest way to learn Arabic might not be what you've always heard? Stick around and I'll show you how flipping the script a little bit can get you speaking confidently much faster. Marhabtayn ya jama'a. Okay, let's start here. A lot of people tell you that modern standard Arabic, Fusha, is the best place to start learning Arabic. And while it's a great foundation, there's no doubt about that, I actually think there's a far more effective route for many learners. Stick around and we're going to dive into why starting with a dialect can often be the game changer. And then I'll give you some practical advice for expediting and really strengthening your practice. Yalla. So here's the truth. Modern Standard Arabic will teach you the rules of Arabic really well. The grammar, the sentence structure, the formal vocabulary, it's all there. It's the language of the news, official speeches, and literature. Even despite the many rules, it offers a lot of freedom of expression. But there's one major problem. Nobody actually speaks it in real life. Like, people don't just walk around in the streets talking to each other in Fusha, in modern standard Arabic, or in cafes, or at home, or on the phone for that matter. Like, if you walk to a cafe in Amman, or Beirut, or Cairo, and try to hold a conversation in Fusha, the person behind the counter might smile, but they're gonna look at you weird, right? Or just switch to dialect. It'd be like walking into a New York City diner and ordering pancakes in Shakespearean English, or talking like you're Walter Cronkite or Don Lemon or something like that. I guess technically it's correct, but it's weird and out of place. So this is why starting with a dialect can be so powerful. You're learning the language people actually use, the real stuff. Right? It's more casual, more intuitive, and way more useful for everyday conversations, that's for sure. Right? You'll learn how to ask for directions, order food, joke around, express your feelings. And most importantly, you'll do it sounding natural, and you'll feel comfortable doing it. Right? And the beauty is, once you've got that base in dialect and your confidence is up, adding in modern standard Arabic becomes way easier. It's like learning how to drive in your neighborhood first before heading out onto the highway. Makes sense? You're more comfortable, you're used to the feel of the language, and your brain already has kind of a map for how Arabic works in real life. So which dialect should you pick? Pick what you like, what sounds good to you, right? Every dialect is beautiful in its own way. But for many learners, Levantine Arabic, spoken in Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine, and Syria, is kind of a sweet spot. Right? It's relatively gentle in pronunciation, but it's the closest in structure and vocabulary to modern standard Arabic. And of course, it's widely understood across the Arab world. In many ways, it's kind of like a perfect bridge between spoken and formal Arabic. Right? Learning Levantine in many ways is like getting a 2-for-1. A lot of the vocabulary, the grammar, and overall structure will carry right over to modern standard Arabic, with just a few minor tweaks. And in order to actually call yourself fluent and be able to operate with confidence in the Arab world, you'll need to be able to read street signs, listen to the news, read literature, etc. Right? So Levantine Arabic is arguably the quickest way to expedite fluency, in my opinion. So how do you become fluent in Arabic the quickest? The answer is simple. Doesn't mean it's easy, but it's simple. Focused practice. So to become fluent in Arabic, you need a balanced routine that targets 3 key areas: listening, speaking and self-expression, and reading and writing. Each supported by smart use of digital tools and structured practice, and you could progress really quickly. Okay, listening. So listening is foundational in Arabic fluency. Right? And as I see it, it's the most important building block. I mean, you always want to understand what's going on in the conversation, even if you're not ready to fully express yourself yet. So by tuning in to authentic resources like podcasts, videos, everyday conversations, you can really start to grasp the natural flow of the language and pick up collocations. Those are common word pairings. For example, in English we would say, I made a decision. In Arabic you would say, I took a decision. أخذت قرار. Right? Or in English we would say, I woke up at sunrise. In Arabic you would say, I woke up with the rising of the sun. صحيت مع طلوع الشمس. Right? So these common word pairings are something that are natural for native speakers, right? And something that you want to get used to. So by picking up on these natural patterns, you're sort of building an internal map that'll kind of guide you for whenever you start to express yourself. Which leads us to the next step, self-expression. Speaking and self-expression. All right, here drilling is key, right? Drilling sentences and phrases is critical for active use. In the manner of speaking, it's like how boxers hit pads, right? They're training their reactions to just come out whenever the key moment is there. You don't want to sit there and be thinking about it in conversation, right? So drilling with spaced repetition decks like Anki or Quizlet is really useful in this way, right? This method transforms passive knowledge into active, spontaneous speech. So the more often you drill, the easier speaking becomes, and your brain learns to skip the translation step and use Arabic directly. Reading and writing in Arabic. Literacy in Arabic literally unlocks a whole new world of authentic content and reinforces the connections between the spoken and written forms. All right. In writing things, you're definitely reinforcing the information that you previously learned in the day. What I mean is, when you write it out, the neural connections on the new word or phrase you learned are way stronger because now you're engaging two senses in the memory retrieval. You have the audio sensory input, presumably when you heard the word and repeat it to yourself. But then you also have the tactile sensory input whenever you wrote the word. Right? So doing it this way really helps with recall, right? And really reinforces the word so you can spend a shorter time learning it. Now I would encourage you to start small. Start with basic things that you see in daily life, like street signs, menus, social media posts, basic news headlines. Move up to children's books, captions on movies, articles, and then eventually short stories, newspapers, and entire books. Right? Here, the quality of your practice really matters. What I mean is, like, how you're reading the stuff that you're learning. Whenever you practice reading, I'd encourage you to practice the word of the phrase until you can say it in a smooth and comfortable way. I'm so sorry for the trite analogy, but it's like getting used to hitting pads when you're boxing, right? You do it a few times, and your body gets used to the movement. You do it many times, and your body starts to like the movement. When you get to this point, you realize that it's more or less effortless to speak your mind, and the phrases that you want to say just come out. And that's where we want to be, right? How to actually use these methods for fast progress. So combine listening practice with focused flashcard drilling. Right? Use both apps, daily exposure, watching TV shows, etc. Right? Track new collocations and phrases that you encounter. Write them down on notes on your phone, for example. You could later on turn them into flashcards for repeated review. Make reading a habit. Set aside daily time for short texts and try out LingQ or other similar apps to explore new topics. Always practice speaking actively, ideally with partners or through language exchanges, like apps like italki or Hello Talk are really useful. And consistent training across all these three skills, supported by digital flashcards and reading apps, creates a mental map of Arabic you'll need for real fluency. All right, with daily practice and varied exposure, you'll gradually start thinking and responding in Arabic, not just translating. So now you have a roadmap for fast progress as you begin your Arabic learning journey. Right? But progress really starts with the right teacher. That's where I come in. I specialize in teaching Levantine colloquial Arabic, and I teach you Arabic as it applies to your specific daily life, right? Because that's the stuff that you're going to remember and that you're going to apply, the stuff that applies to your life. So I, of course, design each program specific to fit your goals and your needs. And if you're serious about reaching fluency, I'd love to help you get there. If you're interested, email me at aaron@ordinarydayarabic.com or just come visit our website, ordinarydayarabic.com. We got some cool blog posts and stuff that'll be really helpful for you, inshallah.